Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at your life and thought, I work so hard, so why do I still feel broke? You wake up early, you deal with stress, you try to save when you can, you avoid buying too many unnecessary things, and yet, at the end of the month, your bank account still looks like it's playing a cruel joke on you. Now here's the scary part. Most people think the problem is not earning enough money. But what if I told you that for many people, money is not the real problem? What if the real problem is a rule about money that almost nobody talks about? A rule that quietly controls every financial decision you make and keeps you running in circles no matter how much you earn. Because think about this. You've probably seen people who earn a lot of money, but somehow they're always in debt, always stressed, always worried about the next bill. And you've probably seen people who don't earn crazy salaries, but they seem calm, stable, and in control. So clearly, income alone is not the answer. There is something deeper going on, something psychological, something behavioral, something most schools never teach and most families never explain. And that brings us to the financial rule that most people completely overlook. Money should be managed before it is spent, not after. Sounds simple, right? Almost too simple. But this one rule, or rather this one mistake of ignoring the rule, is responsible for more financial stress, debt, and broken dreams than almost anything else. And to understand why, we need to talk about how most people actually live. Most people follow this financial system without even realizing it. You earn money, you pay bills, you buy things, you live your life, and whatever is left, you save. This is what I call the leftover money method. You save what's left. But here's the problem. There is almost never anything left, because life always finds a way to take your money. Your car needs repair, your phone breaks, your friend invites you out. You see something on sale, you feel stressed and want to treat yourself. And suddenly, the money you were planning to save disappears. Not because you're careless, not because you're irresponsible, but because your system is broken. Let me give you an example. Jason's story. Jason earns decent money. Not rich, not poor, just average. Every month he tells himself, this month I'm going to save. But every month the same thing happens. Rent goes out, food goes out, subscriptions go out, then a birthday gift, then car insurance, then a random expense he didn't expect. And by the end of the month, he looks at his account and thinks, okay, next month I'll do better. Next month comes. Same story. Year after year, Jason works, but he never feels like he's moving forward. No real savings, no investments, no safety net, just surviving. And here's the dangerous part. Jason thinks the solution is, I just need to earn more. So he waits. He hopes for promotions. He dreams of better jobs. But the moment he earns more, his lifestyle increases with it. Bigger apartment, better phone, more eating out, more expenses. And once again, nothing is left. Why this keeps people stuck forever? This system trains your brain to believe something very dangerous, that saving and building wealth is something you do after life is taken care of. But life is never done taking. There will always be something, and when saving becomes optional, it becomes invisible. It becomes something you plan to do, but never actually do. That's why people reach 30, 40, even 50 years old and suddenly panic. They say, where did all my money go? And the answer is painful. It went to everything except your future. Here's what most people don't realize. Your brain is amazing at justifying spending. If money is sitting in your account, your brain says, well, I can afford it. But your brain does not say, I should protect this for my future self. Your brain is wired for now, not later. That's why willpower alone doesn't work. You can't out-discipline a broken system. And this is where the overlooked rule changes everything.
The wealthy don't save what's left. They spend what's left. They flip the entire system. Instead of earn, spend, save, they use earn, save, spend. They pay themselves first, before bills, before shopping, before lifestyle. Their future gets paid first, and what's left is what they're allowed to live on. This is not about being cheap. It's about being intentional. It's about deciding in advance that your future matters.
Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Most wealthy people are not rich because they have superhuman discipline. They're rich because they removed discipline from the process. They don't rely on motivation. They don't rely on willpower. They don't wake up every day fighting temptation. Instead, they build systems that work quietly in the background. Systems that move money before their brain gets a chance to spend it. Because they understand a powerful truth. If money touches your spending account, your brain already considers it spendable. So, the trick is simple, but incredibly effective. Don't let the money sit there waiting to be used. Redirect it immediately. Think about this. Have you ever told yourself, I'll just save whatever is left this month? But then something always comes up? That's because your brain is not designed to protect your future. It is designed to protect your comfort today. So when money is available, your brain says, you deserve this. You've had a hard week. You can start saving next month. And the crazy part is, your brain is very convincing. That's why relying on self-control is a losing game. But when money is automatically moved the moment you get paid, there is nothing to argue about. There is nothing to decide. The decision was already made in the past by a smarter, calmer version of you. Let's make this very simple. The moment your income arrives, your money should split into different directions automatically. Like this: future you account, savings and investments; bills account, spending account. Before you even open your banking app, your future is already funded. Not with leftovers, with priority. Even if it's just 5%, even if it's just 10%, because consistency beats amount. Small money saved regularly beats big money saved occasionally. Maria was always stressed about money, not because she spent wildly, but because she felt like she was constantly one emergency away from disaster. Every month was survival mode. Then one day, she did something small, but powerful. She set her bank to automatically move 10% of her paycheck into a savings account the same day she got paid. At first, it felt uncomfortable. She thought, what if I need that money? But something strange happened. She adjusted. She spent slightly less. She became more aware of where her money was going. And for the first time in her life, her savings actually started growing. Not because she became perfect with money, but because the system did the work for her. 6 months later, when her car broke down, she didn't panic. She didn't use credit. She simply paid for it. And in that moment, Maria realized something huge. Financial peace is not about being rich. It's about having control. Here's what most people don't see. When wealthy people say things like, I just invest every month, what they really mean is, I set it up once and it happens without me thinking about it. Money goes to retirement accounts, investment funds, business savings, opportunity funds, automatically. No monthly decision, no emotional debate, no procrastination, because they understand something powerful. The best financial decision is the one you don't have to make again. Every decision you remove reduces the chance you'll sabotage yourself. Let's be honest, paying yourself first feels risky when you're not used to it. Your brain says, what if something goes wrong? What if I can't pay my bills? What if I need that money later? But here's the truth. You are already surviving on what you have. You're just shifting when you see the money, not whether you earn it. And most people discover something surprising. They don't miss the money nearly as much as they thought they would. because lifestyle always expands or shrinks to match what's available. When less is available, you naturally become more mindful, not miserable, just more intentional. Here's where things start to change emotionally. When you see your savings growing, even slowly, something shifts inside you. You start feeling more confident, more hopeful, more motivated. Because now you're not just working to survive, you're working to build. That feeling changes how you think. You start asking, how can I increase this? How can I invest smarter? How can I grow my income? But before systems, those questions never even appear, because survival mode doesn't think long term. It only thinks about the next bill. So why doesn't everyone do this? Because it's not exciting. There's no instant reward, no dramatic transformation overnight, and nobody brags about boring consistency. Social media shows fast success, big wins, luxury lifestyles. But wealth in real life is built by repetition, automation, patience. It's quiet, it's slow, and it works. Without automation, this is what usually happens. You save when you feel motivated, you stop when life gets stressful, you start again when you feel guilty. It becomes emotional, and emotional money decisions are dangerous because emotions change daily. Systems don't. Here's something nobody really talks about. Most people imagine that becoming financially stable looks dramatic. They think it comes with big promotions, huge business wins, sudden lifestyle upgrades. But in real life, financial stability usually arrives quietly. No fireworks, no big announcement, just less stress, more breathing room, and more options. Let me show you what I mean. David and Lena used to fight about money all the time. Not because they were reckless, but because they were always anxious. Every unexpected expense felt like a threat. So they argued about small purchases, who spent what, who should cut back more. Money became emotional. Then they made one decision. They automated their savings and emergency fund. Before anything else, part of their income disappeared into accounts they couldn't easily touch. At first, it felt tight, but within a few months, something changed. When problems came up, they had money ready. No panic, no blame. And slowly the arguments stopped. Not because they became rich, but because money stopped being an emergency every time life happened.
Let me tell you about Angela. Single mom, 2 kids, barely making enough to survive. Saving felt impossible. But she started with just 3% of her income. Not because it was easy, but because she wanted to prove to herself that her future mattered too. At first, it felt pointless. What difference does this tiny amount make, she thought. But after 1 year, she had her first emergency fund. For the first time in her adult life, she wasn't terrified of unexpected bills. Then she slowly increased it to 5%, then 8%. Years later, she didn't just have savings, she had confidence. And that confidence pushed her to apply for better jobs, take training, and believe she deserved more. Money didn't just change her bank account, it changed how she saw herself.
Here's how financial growth really works. At first, it feels like nothing is happening. You save, you invest, but life still feels the same. Bills still exist, work is still stressful. So people quit. They think, this isn't working. But what they don't see is that stability is building under the surface, like roots growing underground before the tree shows above ground. Then, one day, an emergency happens and it doesn't destroy you. Or you realize you could survive months without income. Or you suddenly have options you never had before. And that's when it hits you. Oh, it's working. Money doesn't just buy things. It buys time, freedom, choice. It lets you say no to toxic jobs, no to bad relationships,
no to situations that drain you. Because desperation makes people accept anything. But stability gives you power. Not power over others, power over your own life. Here's a hard truth. Some people are so used to financial stress that calm feels uncomfortable. When things start going well, they unconsciously destroy progress by increasing lifestyle too fast, taking on unnecessary debt, spending to feel successful because their identity is still stuck in survival mode. That's why systems matter more than motivation. Systems protect you, even when your emotions try to pull you backwards. Let's talk about the dangerous cycle. Stress about money. Spend to feel better. More stress because of spending. Repeat. It's not stupidity. It's emotional survival. And until people fix the structure of their money, the cycle continues no matter how much they earn. Once systems are in place, your thinking changes. You stop asking, how do I get through this month? And start asking, how do I grow over the next 5 years? That shift changes career decisions, business ideas, education choices, risk-taking ability. Because now your life is not balanced on a financial cliff. You have a base, and from that base, growth becomes possible. So now the big question is, what do you actually do with all of this? Because knowing the rule is powerful, but using it is what changes your life. So let's turn this into something real. Not complicated, not overwhelming, just simple steps that work in the real world.
Step 1. Decide your future first percentage. This is where everything starts. Before budgets, before apps, before spreadsheets, you choose a number. Not based on perfection, but based on consistency. For most people, 3% is a powerful start. 5% builds confidence. 10% creates serious momentum. And if money feels extremely tight, start with 1%. Because the goal at first is not the amount. The goal is to build the habit of paying yourself first, to train your brain that your future is non-negotiable. Step 2, automate it so you can't forget. This step is everything. You set your bank or employer to move that percentage automatically into savings, into investments, or into an emergency fund on the same day you get paid. Not later, not when you remember, because motivation is unreliable. Automation is loyal. Once it's set, your wealth starts growing in the background of your life. Quietly, consistently, powerfully. Step 3. Live on what remains, not what you earn. This part is uncomfortable at first, but it's where the magic happens. Instead of spending first and saving later, you reverse it. Your lifestyle adjusts to the money that remains, not because you're punished, but because your future is now protected. And here's the surprise. Most people realize they were already spending money they didn't even enjoy that much. Small daily leaks, subscriptions they forgot about, impulse spending that didn't really make them happier. When your money becomes intentional, your life becomes clearer too.
Step 4. Increase when your income increases. This is where most people fail. They earn more and immediately upgrade their lifestyle. New phone, better car, more eating out. But wealthy builders do something different. When income increases, they increase their future percentage first. Then they upgrade their lifestyle slowly. So instead of being trapped at the same level forever, every raise slowly moves them forward, not just in comfort, but in security. Step 5. Build an emergency fund before chasing big dreams. This part is not exciting, but it's life-changing. Before risky investments, before big business ideas, you need a safety net. Because emergencies are not rare, they are guaranteed. And when you're protected, you don't panic when life happens. You don't destroy your progress. You stay calm. You stay in control. And that calm is what allows long-term success. Most people think their future will fix itself. They say, I'll figure it out later, but later comes faster than you expect. This rule isn't about money, it's about responsibility. When you follow it, emergencies don't break you, bills don't control you. You have choices, not because you're rich, but because you're prepared. And that changes everything. So if there's one thing to remember from this, it's not how much you earn, it's how early your future gets paid. Because money that never reaches your hands can't be wasted. It can only grow. And one small decision today can protect years of your life tomorrow. If this made you think differently about money, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because nobody taught us this rule, but it changes everything.